Hello and a warm welcome to all my viewers. Today we are going to review the Duke 790 BS4 on a highway, and this is a ride that I had registered for from the KTM showroom, and I'm very thankful for them letting me ride this bike. And let me start off with the first point, that is the pricing. It's at around 8,64,000 ex showroom in Delhi. So that varies depending on the day or maybe the taxes and some incidental charges and so on. But in Bangalore, the showroom did tell me that it should cost around 10 lakhs 75 plus or minus depending on the kind of insurance you go for and various other things. All right. Now, this is around 1 lakh costlier than the Z900 or the GSX S750 Suzuki. And I would like to say that yes, you get two additional cylinders for those prices, a lakh cheaper. But then let's see if this is worth it. Now, this comes in as a CKD kit, so that's one of the reasons why it's costlier, and it's manufactured totally in Austria and assembled in the Bajaj Chakan plant in Pune. It has a liquid-cooled 799cc twin-cylinder engine with a double overhead cam setup. Now it is mated with a 6-speed PASC, is a registered anti-hopping clutch from KTM, and that means it's a slipper clutch. We will discuss in detail about these technologies in some of my upcoming videos. It has a dual disc setup at the front. Both of them are 300 mm, and the rear disc is 240 mm. It has an impressive ground clearance of around 186 mm, and the seat height is at around 825 mm. And the curb weight of this bike is at around 169 kilograms only. Wow, that's impressive. Now, the max power of this bike would be 105 horsepower at around 8,500 rpm and 87 newton meter of torque at around 8,000 rpm. It has a 4-valve per cylinder setup. Now, these power figures can vary from bike to bike of the same brand, of the same manufacturing stock too, because these things vary depending on the condition of the bike, the air quality around it, the fuel quality that it has. Why I'm saying this is, in my experience, there had been a few dyno tests done on a Duke 390, and we found a lot of variance, plus or minus 5 newton meters, plus or minus 5 horsepower in various motorcycles. And that was definitely depending on the kind of fuel you have in your bike, or the air quality, or the condition of the air filter, and so on. So it's always good to know about these figures with a pinch of salt, saying that that can always vary. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's move ahead now. The next thing that I would like to discuss about this is the ride experience. And first thing I did was ride in the highest gear with the lowest speed possible and checked if it splutters or not. So at around 60 kilometers per hour, 55 to 60 is when it started spluttering at 6th gear. And this I do only to find out the torquey nature of the engine. Does it have a flat torque curve or not? So this obviously with the 6th gear started spluttering at around 55 to 60 kilometers per hour. That means okay, so I could not comment on this, but then that is one of my signature tests that I would always love to perform on these bikes to find out the characters of these engines. Now, going forward, there is a prominent nose dive when braking. That is one thing that I did not like about it. Otherwise, I would say the acceleration is just rabid, like a rabid dog. All right, it is insane. The moment I open the throttle in the right gear over 25%, oh my god, you better be prepared for some tucking in, because the front tries to lift itself. The front gets so light. This is with the wheelie control on. Okay, so be very careful, and please, until you know how to tame this or how to handle this power, please keep the wheelie control on. And it's pretty difficult once the front lifts off, and especially the wind pushing it back, it can go out of control within fractions of seconds. If you It is for the uninitiated and those people who are just beginning to ride. All right, so be careful on that. Now, the gear shift is feather touch, I would say. False neutral is a bad word for this bike. You cannot use that word, false neutral. And the gear play is just around 2 to 3 mm, and then it just simply slots into the gear. It's amazing. That's one thing I liked about it. I have no complaints on braking as such. It is all a feather touch on the right hand side lever, feather touch, and it stops. But the only complaint that I had, as mentioned before, was of the nose diving. Now, apart from this, I would like to say that you can cruise at 130 to 150, okay, or 140 for that matter, 140 being the sweet spot the whole day. The whole day you can cruise on these speeds, 140 kilometers per hour, as long as there is fuel in the tank and there are speed worthy roads ahead of you. All right. And of course, you have the stamina to sit in that position, taking in all the wind blast. Yes, these are my personal views of riding this bike. Wind blast is very prominent, of course, at 140 and 150. You literally feel as though you are a part of the bike, which is taking in all of the wind gush that's coming towards you. And having said this, I would like to mention another point, that is, at this particular price point, this is an ideal tool. Yes, if you can call it a scalpel, you're very much, yes. Maybe you could call the Duke 790R as a more precise scalpel, because the nosedive is the only one that actually gives me a little bit of concern. But apart from that, everything is perfect. All right. And what I would like to really highlight here is, with speeds as much as 140 to 150, you will spend very less time on the saddle, of course, and you will be safely already reaching your destination if you do these speeds, compared to the speeds that you do when you are on a commuter bike, 80 to 90 kilometers. You will reach your destination faster and in a more enjoyable manner, because the chassis makes a good job of keeping you planted on the road. The dynamics are excellent. And having all this said, I would like to say that when it comes to the price point of purchasing this bike, and if you would ask me if I would be buying this bike, I would say rather not, because I think it is basically a collector's item, and I'm not a collector. All right. Collector's item because it is a BS4 limited edition model. Very soon in April 2020, it is not going to be produced anymore. It's going to be the BS6. And what I've heard is they're going to manufacture the BS6 model locally in India, and it is no longer going to be a made in Austria engine, or you won't have that tag, and hence it's going to be a collector's item. Anytime it's a very good conversation starter saying, yes, I have a BS4 Duke 790, and that is what I think would hold on for this particular. That's one of the USPs, because it's a rare model, it is in limited numbers, and it will be a collector's item, because for very less amount of money from what you pay for this, I will get a Versys 650 with a very good wind blast protection and upright riding position that will give me lesser fatigue on my journeys to any destination for that matter. Or I can also buy the Z900 or the S750, the Kawasaki and the Suzuki respectively, for a pretty good music to the ears from the 4-cylinder pot. So it's a pretty beaty exhaust. Some might like it, some might not. So it depends on the individual's taste. And of course, last but not the least, the seat is pretty wide and flat. Definitely with someone with a child-bearing hips can easily sit on this, and pretty comfortable. But of course, it's a little bit wooden, but then comfortable. This is what is exactly needed for this kind of a street fighter. Having said this, all in all, it's an amazing product. The fact that once I got off the saddle and completed the ride, I was a little bit in a trance. It was amazing. It was a great feeling. Okay, you are excited, your heart is racing, and that is what we all need from bikes like these. All right. So this was about it. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the short videos of the exhaust note that I put in following this uh, clip. And please like, share, and subscribe and support my channel. And I would look forward to many more discussions on automobiles in the upcoming videos. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.